Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Lamsey Show's new segment for Mecha Madness. I am MikeyRPGamer, as you all know, joined today with Skull Error, aka Freddy, who is the host of this new segment that we are recording. How are you doing, Freddy?
Is it weird for me to just point out the fact that it went live as of 8 seconds ago after your introduction on my screen?
Well, we won't worry about that. It is what it is.
But anyways,
it is
hey everybody! First debut of officially doing a segment with Mikey here, Skull Error, or otherwise will be known as Fred for the duration of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
you can't tell, but I'm mimicking Mikey.
We're going to be hitting up a new segment, guys, all based around mechas, Gundams, etc., which is Freddy's area of expertise, and taking it from there with the faceless Gundam man himself, if you go by the profile picture here.
If it's a mech and it blows up and it looks like charred ashes, I will be acknowledging it.
So tell us, Freddy, what is a mech, for those who don't know?
Well, in the sense of what we're going to be talking about in terms of Gundam, a Gundam is a high-performance mobile suit at its current peak of technology that is pushed to its limits, followed by its subsidiary units of, well, mass production types, which will be dumbed-down versions of it later down the road if it becomes a successful unit. But 99% of the time, it is a stolen high-performance mobile suit.
And boy, have we got news for you. So we're going to be doing a little segment that Freddy's created called Who Wore It Better?
I apologize for the fact that we're going to go with the slideshow presentation. It's going to be an official documentation of how us, the Federation, cannot build something better than Zeon.
This
or the enemy faction.
Interesting. Now, I for those who don't know, I have never had much of an interest in Gundam. I have little to no knowledge about a lot of Gundam things. So I'm Freddy's perfect culprit, basically.
Yeah, he gets actually the best opinions. Until I disagree with him, and then he's wrong.
So what is this little show game thing that we're going to be doing here?
Well, I figured become an icebreaker. For someone who is inexperienced with the mecha genre, we'll go with aesthetics as like a go-to presentation to start.
Lovely.
Then after that, we can always go through the nitty-gritty bits at some point.
The nitty-gritty. Oh, don't we love the nitty-gritty?
I know, right?
Well, let's have a look through it. So, let's attack me with slideshow number 1. Who
We're
are
gonna
these?
rip off the bandage with Daddy Mustache and OG Granddad.
So, explain to me a little bit about these two Gundams. Who are they? What show are they from?
So we got
what am I
Mobile Suit
looking at?
Gundam as the RX-78-2, aka the spearhead of the entire franchise. And I decided, aesthetically, might as well go with the OG aesthetic design. I did have an Origin version that had it more detailed and more sleek, but I figured go with their standard counterpart.
Yeah.
Because I will tell you this right now, the RX-78-2, just like the Unicorn, which we'll talk about that one later, about 900 different models were made for that one. And they have milked it ever since. Turn A Gundam was later down. I can't remember. I know it's Universal Century timeline based, but I can't remember off the top of my head if it was like canonically in the Universal timeline or was it just like its own branching path. Because I remember at some point it goes weirdly talking about, oh, this is like where the junction of all timelines meet up is with Turn A Gundam, and I'm just like,
wibbly wobbly. We love it.
Yep, the center of the universe. Also, fun fact: did you know that thing in its torso has a black hole generator? And it's using it as a casual storage device.
Interesting. I mean, simply for the mustache alone, off of aesthetic, I mean, the Turn A Gundam wins. the stash wins it.
You know what? I'm gonna do this for you. Are you into the market for a new household appliance? The Turn A Gundam can do it all. It can wash your clothes. It can carry your cows inside a missile pod silo.
I love it.
It can be used as a dry hanging rack. By the way, the timeline for this one is like post recession of technology in a sense. Like the Turn A Gundam was in an era like basically this thing comes out with a micro machine system that disrupts technology and disables them.
Yeah. With
a bunch of nanomachines, and along with its sister unit, the Turn X. I know, right? How can you tell if it's upside down or right side up? The X. When those two units fought, they basically went into a full technological reset. That the timeline that this one is based on is literally as if we were just getting into the industrial era again.
I see. Well, yeah, going off of aesthetic purposes, the Turn A is definitely superior. No, what we got up next? What
Oh,
the
actually, can we
fuck?
go back to one detail? Go back.
Oh yeah, sorry. What's the one detail?
Hey, Mike.
Yeah.
Where is the pilot usually located in?
Isn't it like in the central of the Gundam? Wait.
Well,
He's got
no.
a
What's
black
the
hole.
term? What's the term of the?
Oh, the cockpit.
The Turn A takes that to a literal degree. You see that little shiny bit on the fucking
Oh
groin?
no,
It's the actual cockpit.
no. Moving on.
I knew you were gonna love that one. So, the RX-79 was a unit that I had such a hard time trying to figure out which one I wanted to use because there were several variants based on what like sub timeline you went with or side story. But I figured, hey, what better one than the Thunderbolt version? That one never gets enough love. And personally, I loved it.
And what show is it from?
It's actually from a movie, straight to movie, that is based off of the comic series, the Thunderbolt Gundam, Mobile Suit Thunderbolt.
Okay.
Its first appearance is in December Sky, which personally is my most favorite series because of the design template of, well, using the background music of jazz for the pilot.
Jazz. Ooh.
I recommend it highly if you ever want to check it out for what.
Who's its opponent?
A lot of the times, its main opponent is the more recent style of the Universal Century's new replacement grunt unit of it, the Jagan D-type. So in performance, it's technically superior in every way to the RX-79 Gym.
Yeah.
But I was always on the impression of aesthetics versus its functionality. Because the Jagan was just basically the new Stormtrooper for a lot of the main protagonist fights. You see it get shot down out of the sky just as much as the Gym.
Yeah. And what show is the Jagan from?
So the Jagan is actually from multiple series. You got it from Char's Counterattack, the movie. You also have like a bit of late Zeta, I believe, but that's like in the side stories depending on who you're asking. But mainly you see them more mass production heavy in what was it? UC 0096 Unicorn Gundam.
Okay, so
and Hathaway's Flash.
For me personally, again, obviously we're going off of these for aesthetics. I have to give it to the Jagan. I'm not a fan of bulky things. Thunderbolt is definitely a bulky boy.
I'll be honest, it was the best I could find that would fit in there image-wise because HD quality images were just like they're too panel shot based.
Yeah, no, of course.
So I was like, that doesn't give it a good scaling idea.
So for that reason, we're gonna hand it off to the Jagan D type.
Yep.
It's a D type. Does this one also have a man in the cock?
No, the red on the lower bit of the torso is exactly where he is, and same with like the Gym where you see like that little forward bit on the chest in the middle. That's exactly where they're hiding it behind.
Okay, that's fair. So up next,
Turn A is the Enigma. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Up next, Freddy just mentioned them. We got Unicorn Gundams.
So we got the RXO Unit 2 Banshee and the original, the Unicorn Gundam itself.
And what show are these from?
These are both from, as the name would suggest, Unicorn Gundam 0096.
There's a Gundam show called Unicorn Gundam?
Yes. Yep. The idea of the name of the Unicorn Gundam, as you can tell by the V-fin on the top, is literally just a spearhead.
Right. Okay.
So, to properly explain, because I didn't really want to, like, squish too many images in this, the fin in the middle actually splits in half and opens up to become a more proper V-fin for both of them. So, and that's when they're in, like, their burst drive mode, essentially. So a lot of the panel lining that you see there that looks like really weird choices of detailing, like say for example in the shoulder you see like the little middle line drawn on it.
Yeah.
It would basically split open to reveal a psychoplate system. So essentially in this timeline, or at this point of the timeline, everyone has come to notice that new types are a thing, which would be essentially like in a more one-to-one comparison. It'd be like Jedi, essentially.
Yeah.
Magical space with a chunk of material that is actually reactive to them. I went with the Banshee Noirn's version or Banshee Norn's version because I actually love the beam tonfa that gets extended on his right arm, and I love the GN claw because it's like a viro blade claw that opens up. There's although sadly you only ever get to see it get used properly on like one target. Didn't even kill him. They just mained them with it, and I never actually seen them hit a target with the actual beam weapon itself. But the idea of the black unit is that it's supposed to represent the lion.
Okay.
They're both an allegory for the unicorn is the possibilities of humanity, while the Banshee is the lion of courage, of overall courageon. of a player, for lack of a better word. Of a pilot, I should say.
Again, going off of aesthetic, the Banshee definitely takes it.
I kind of agree because the accent break that it has is, by the way, when
Yeah.
they go into burst mode, it's gold and black from all the like in between bits of the armor.
The solid
unicorn,
white is
the
very...
unicorn goes through RGB phase.
Oh no.
Where it's first it's red, then it's green, and then if you're going with the perfectibility type, it's blue.
Yeah, I mean, I like edginess, and the Gundam Banshee certainly has edgy in loads. So
I would highly recommend. You would probably love Ensign Riddy and the previous pilot for it as well, because there are about 2 pilots who operate the Banshee and only 1 pilot for the Unicorn.
That's cool. Moving up next, we have the Virulent.
What was it? The Bylart?
The Virulent.
Yeah, I might be mispronouncing it too. I can't wait to hear somebody finally.
I mean, there's not a lot of difference between these two aesthetically.
So in a sense, both of them are in 2 separate factions, in a manner of speaking. Okay. The one on the left is the Titans version of this model.
Yeah.
Well, the one on the right is the Earth Federation's version of it. So essentially, the Titans were considered an anti-terrorist organization group, so they had full autonomy on their own R&D, but they kind of snapped food on a lot of infighting and also not morally correct use of their autonomy.
Yeah.
AKA, we will kill anyone that gets in our way just to kill the target that we are looking for. We don't care how many innocent civilians are in the fray. Well, what's funny too is that they actually had a battle where they were literally in a city where all their government officials that actually, fund them were having a meeting, and they were just like, look, we can't have anyone fighting in the city. Proceeds to do the opposite to fight the AUG.
Yeah, I understand.
And they're literally just sitting there like, do you guys not understand? No, we do what we want. But personally, I'm a huge fan of the one on the right because of the custom that they've done.
The custom looks better. It looks more defined. It looks more modern. And all in all, it just looks better, even despite how few changes have been made.
It has a massive enhancement to the arm unit because the claw was separated from the beam. Because unfortunately, the one on the left has the stupidity of those are actually its physical hands. So it has to hold a beam weapon in those 3 little claw-like arms.
Oh,
and I'm just like, wait a minute, you have to pull a trigger on that thing? At least they made a side upgrade where it's the claw is a good way to grapple something while it has its own autonomous beam weapon.
Yeah.
Unlike a subunit above it. It's a variable weapon. It can produce a beam saber, multi-fire variable beam weapon.
Okay.
Also, I will say it's probably it shows up in one segment of Unicorn Gundam, but I gotta say, man, did they make that thing look badass in comparison to when it was in Zeta. It took on 20 units without actually giving a damn. And it wasn't even a protagonist too.
So up next after that we have the Zulu versus the Zaku, which basically looks like Master Chief rips off a rip-off Master Chief. It's like Discount Store Master Chief on the left and the real Master Chief on the right. That's how I see this, and I'm just up front. The Zaku 2 looks better than the Zulu.
Personally, I love the Zulu's headpiece. I was never really a fan of very bulky tubes like the Zaku's head plate has.
Yeah.
But I will say, I will give it to this. The Zaku 2 was the staple of Zeon's mass production, and it was winning them the war when they had literally numerical disadvantage. Because at that point, it was just it was a few a good platoon of fighter jets could not take out one Zaku because of its maneuverability, and its ease of use was just too great for them. And at that point, it actually caused an entire military faction to have to quickly switch into an R&D to produce something that could actually go against it. Which, by the way, the gym wasn't their best response. I'll be honest. Low performance in every front versus the Zaku, and it's still...
Yeah, I get what you mean.
But I do love the Zulu a lot, but I will say I just wish it didn't have a really cumbersome looking Panzerfaust as a rocket. When we had units like the Zaku that had a really sleek, more compact rocket launcher that was more tube based. But
sorry, go on.
Nah, I was about to say. But my favorite would still be the Zulu. The Zaku was just a staple. Yeah.
Fair enough. Up
Mostly-
next after we have wait, are these Gundams?
They're not Gundams, but they are people in Gundams.
You threw a curveball here, buddy. I will give it to the full frontal. Full frontal has more drip than Char Aznable. Char Aznable kind of looks like Darth Vader if he put color into his costume. The full frontal's got that style. He knows what he's doing there.
You know what's funny? And I'm gonna have to break this over your head.
Yeah.
They're both the same. So, Full Frontal had the unfortunate audacity to be given the "he's a clone" syndrome. Even though Full Frontal looks amazing, the problem is they wrote him off as he's clone of Char Aznable.
Why? I'm done. I'm done. I'm done.
But I will tell you this, Char Aznable, he couldn't be a bigger dickhead if you wrote him any worse. Because his entire family bloodline was betrayed by the zombie family. So his whole MO was, even though I was like 10 years old when this happened, I'm gonna hold a lifetime vendetta, even if I became good friends with their son, like actually good friends. I'm gonna backstab every last one of them.
Of course.
And I would say the most meme-worthy kill that he's had on the zombie family was literally when he just showed up in a spacesuit when they were trying to evacuate the last member of the zombie family out of Abawaku.
Yeah.
He just fired a rocket straight into the fucking, like, the command center of that ship, and I'm just like, bruh, why?
I'm disappointed now. Next. Barbatos versus Exia.
We got literally...
We
got Ancient Glory returned, and then just, hello, I am too committed to becoming a Gundam. Therefore, I am Gundam.
The Barbatos has the yellow spiky horn things that make it just slightly more edgier.
I would say this, it was kind of difficult to pick which form I wanted from Season 1, because, I kid you not, there's 6 forms for him.
Of course there is.
Well, in the sense of... it's still him. Just think of it as like different armaments were added on him. Like where you see how like the shoulders bare boned and everything. This I would decided to go with the first form. So essentially they had just put on an impromptu armor on the left arm.
Yeah.
And you're gonna laugh when I say this. When they had this mobile suit, initially they were just using it as a power reactor. They were just having it sitting in a garage, just being connected to everything else in the base.
I'm sorry. What?
Initially, this thing was just a glorified reactor. So to properly explain, the timeline that this mobile suit comes from is after a calamity of 100 years have occurred.
Okay.
So basically, there were 78 mobile suits that were considered Gundam frame based because they ran on dual reactors, versus most other mobile suits had a single reactor for standardized performance. These things were designed to go above and beyond against what I will basically nickname them for you, the Metal Gears. So essentially, humanity, I don't know what dingus decided, hey, I'm gonna make a bunch of machines that are AI autonomous, and they're gonna be excellent killing machines. Oh wait, they went rogue. Who would have thought? So they were basically high performance killing machines, and according to how they explained the potency of those machines, during the 100-year war, they nearly wiped out humanity, leaving only 2/5 of humanity left.
Of course they did. Because why wouldn't they do this?
So currently Mars was just like a foothold where there was a lot of ancient relics of Gundams and mobile armor bits lying around. And the Barbados was essentially discovered by a military head of what was it called? The GSI, I believe was it, or the CSI, I think it was. No, the GCS. That's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
So that faction was basically a paramilitary group, but they were always using like a little transport mobile worker unit as their main combat force. Nobody really knew that the existence of that mobile suit other than the people operating that base or anyone doing maintenance on that reactor on the Barbados. Not even the main military force that became the sole dominant power of governing any law enforcement, Gallahorn, knew that was there. So when they came in to go after a person that was leading a revolution because they felt that Mars was getting treated too unfairly by 4 economic blocs, they were like, okay, look, you're the daughter of a politician here on Mars. He has some he has some undesirable reasons why you are going to cause so many wrenches in what he's doing. So unfortunately, he's going to trade you off to die. to Galahorn. Oh, we didn't even get to talk about the Exia. Wow.
No, that's because I misclicked. That's a technical error on me. That's my bad.
But yeah, TLDR, essentially the Barbados was only brought out of being a glorified reactor because of the fact of a revolution.
It just looks better. It's more drippy.
Honestly, I would say this: if you're not a fan of like science fiction, like energy weapons and stuff like that, like blasters and stuff like that, Iron-Blooded Orphans is probably your best version because it goes more hand-to-hand, if not physical kinetic weapons of like ballistics.
Okay.
Being its main thing. Mainly melee, honestly, because really ammo is expensive and only the elite can really afford to just not learn to aim. Anyways, the Exia is basically just, at the time that they were releasing out a new production mobile suit that was solar based, this thing just decided to show up and just cut him down in like a couple of inches from nearly destroyed. But honestly, he left the pilot alive, and Exia is just a high performance mobile suit of melee capabilities. There are 3 others that have corresponding roles for a squad of 4, but the power system in the Exia was considered a solar reactor. So It has a particle system generator that is very uniquely designed and very hush-hushed and kept to literally only 1 scientist. Nice timer, man.
Fuck's sake.
Anyways, though, TLDR, the Exia was a high-performance mobile suit until he was betrayed by somebody in the faction, and they gave the everyday military faction the same power source. So then they became a very obsolete unit. I will say, though, the Season 1 or the Season 2 intro of it, because they didn't get a chance to give the main protagonist an upgraded unit yet, fantastic. Exia Repair looks fantastic. You have just like the one evil looking red eye because half of his faceplate was destroyed. And he's missing an arm, obviously, and a half broken sword.
Is the pilot in the dig again? There's massive red bits.
No. Actually, where the bottom blue pointing upwards to the center of the cockpit or the center of the torso, that is where it opens up. And for the Barbados, it's actually from the top of the blue segment where it slides outward for the pilot to jump in.
Anyway, after that one, guys, we have
the Gundam Leopard and the what? Man,
anything's a dildo if you're brave enough, guys. That's what I say for these. I don't like either of them. I don't like either.
So you see, this is as American I can get. I love the heavy arms because it literally has a chest plate that opens up with 4 more miniguns. All the orange bits on the shoulder and like the boxes on the side of the legs are all missile pods. And of course you have the high velocity Gatling gun.
And does the Leopard have things like this?
Yep, same thing. Virtually the same thing. The only difference is the heavy arm is from Gundam Wing. Gundam Leopard is from Gundam XX. Which underrated series out of all of them because it got shafted.
The Leopard has a nice cannon, but the heavy arms, whilst its cannon kind of looks more like it should be like the barrel of a sniper rifle, it has a better shield. So for that reason, the heavy arms wins. Also, it's red.
Can I tell you this right now, though? The one drawback to the first version of the heavy arms is that the fucking minigun encases the whole arm into it. So once it's depleted, he literally scuttles the shield and the gun at the same time.
Oh, yeah. I can see why that would be. Yeah, I haven't got much to say on these ones, but because they're aesthetically gruesome, I'm not a fan of either.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I love Leopard, but I kind of hold heavy arms more. I will say though, it's funny having a pilot named Troa that's very agile operate the heavy arms. Yeah, because it's actually hilarious how often you see him do like carnival twirls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With something so cumbersome like that and successfufully maneuver around faster than most standard units can even anticipate.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
So who have we got next? We have Epion wins. No fucking questions asked. Gundam Zero, get out of here. The Epion has that demonic drip and we love it.
What's funny is that he has a transformable mobile suit. He has a flight mode that, as you can see the legs right there, how they have like the little visor screen.
Yeah.
When it transforms, it turns both legs into like a Hydra looking airborne unit.
Perfect.
And that what was it called? What on his left arm, what looks like a whip is actually like a heat whip.
Perfect.
So it turns into like such a massive heat.
He's kinky boy.
It rips through a lot of units. I will say though, I kind of like the Wing Zero a lot more, only because of the fact of the matter is
it looks so generic to me. Like, even someone who doesn't know Gundam, when I think Gundam, that's what I think of.
Yeah, but I'll be honest, it's literally just the upgrade for the protagonist from the Wing Zero. So
is the Epion used by a villain?
Yes and no.
Okay.
It has the problem. It has both of them have the same problem where their OS is what causes the pilot to go insane. So if you're not mentally capable of dealing with the OS, it will basically turn you evil in a sense. Just more like you're just pathologically insane at the time for operating it. Because the way the system works, it's presenting you all possible outcomes at the same time. So it is literally predicting how you will die repeatedly for you to understand, like, to figure out how to avoid that.
Here, let me show you 100 ways you can die, but one way you can survive.
Yeah. Well, no, it's more like, let me show you all the ways you're going to die. Figure out how to not let that happen. So, like, say, for example, you'll literally watch as you explode in the mobile suit. It will literally show you how gruesome your death will be, flat out. It does not care. It does not pull back punches.
It doesn't give no shits. I get it. Yeah. That's some gruesome shit. But no, I'll give it to the Epion for this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we literally got a Talagese and then a Talagese Mark III.
Yep.
Where did the Mark II go in this, Freddy?
I'm gonna be honest, because the Talagese 1 and 2 basically look the same, just in a different shade of blue. I was like, well, it's gonna be too simplistic if we're just like, I like the blue better than the black one.
I almost give it to Talagese 1, but the Talagese 3 takes it because I don't like the massive red floof thing on top of the fucking...
I mean, it makes it more sleek at the end of its line.
Sure, it still makes it look... Yeah.
I'm a tried and true classic, but I do love the Talagese 3's weapons and shields. Like, they're so nice. But I will tell you this. You will never have an argument more controversial than what type of ammo the Talagese 1's Doberman gun fires. Because 1 minute it's firing, like, actual ballistics, the next thing it's suddenly firing energy weapons.
Oh my god.
There was no better inconsistency than the Doberman gun for the Talagese.
Yeah, I got not much to say on these. The Talagese 3 just looks better. This next slide, I can see the preview for it, however, is... Yeah! This one's hard, but I think I have to go purely based on, like, my color scheme and go with the Jirah. Just because I like purple. But it's not an easy decision.
I will say I haven't really had much experience with the G-Ratch because I'm not a fan of that. I'm personally not a fan of the G Reconquistio, because that storytelling was absolute dog shit. And I can tell you right now, the writer personally apologized for how bad the writing is. No. You failed, sir. If you have to make the public apology. But I can tell you this right now. They are working on a remake of a retelling of that series, so I will give it a watch.
It just looks better. I think the standing on like the one leg kind of thing just makes it look. Doesn't the Shambler do the same thing you said before?
It is a tripod, but it is a unit that can go submersible. And I will say this: there's nothing more terrifying than standing on a fucking carrier as like 3 gems, suddenly seeing one of its claws pierce straight through the fucking carrier. And you're just sitting there like it's a fucking boss fight with just one of its appendages. You're like trying to fight for your life for that, and you just watch as it like casually destroys those 3 and then the ship.
Which one do you prefer?
I just prefer the Shamblo so much more because I've seen its combat capabilities, and it is too terrifying.
That's fair.
It also had such a pilot tragic story at the end.
The Psycho Gundam Mark II. I don't know what the fuck that thing is on the left, but it looks like something out of Zelda, and I don't like it.
It's the big Zam. You see that entire indent where it's like open, where all the green breaks out?
Is that a cannon?
They're all cannons.
Of course they are! Of course! It's not because it's purple, it's just because it's not the big Zam. That's why I'm picking the Gundam Mark II.
I can tell you this right now. Almost all the yellow circles that you see on the Psycho Gundam Mark II, except for the 2 in the dead center of the chest, they're all thrusters.
The thrusters?
They're all thrusters.
That's kind of funny.
The reason why they're all just... except for the one on the groin as well, I should say. Predominantly, the 3 in the dead center on the body are pretty much like scatter shot beam weapons, so they're basically just shotgunning everywhere with energy weapons. And the fingertips also have beam weapons of their own, so they literally just look like they're playing the piano in midair when they're attacking you. It also turns into a giant pylon, like a traffic cone pylon when it condenses itself down for flight mode.
That's cool. I like that.
It too also has a tragic death.
Now these two look very similar. Is that like a sword on its back of the GM2? Is that
That is a beam weapon hilt.
It's a beam weapon hilt. Has the Nemo got one as well? Is that no? That's an antenna.
It has it technically on the back skirt.
Just going off of what I can see, I'd have to go for the GM2. Plus, you can't do Nemo like this. Nemo's an orange little fish. Wait, no.
Well, you gotta pronounce it the right way. It's the Nemo.
All jokes aside, the GM2 just looks more aesthetically pleasing than the Nemo.
You want to know the tragic story, though? The GM2 is just slightly re-armored differently, but its performance is still the same as its original counterpart.
Wow.
This is complete cannon fodder. It's only the Gym 3 that ever gets like enough of an upgrade that it can make a semblance of a difference, but it wasn't enough. The Nemo was just, its reactor core and everything was just superior in every way.
That's fair enough. So there's not much of a difference between these two then.
Other than questionably, who, I will tell you this right now, Anaheim Electronics designed both a lot of these mobile suits that you've seen already passing by. And I can tell you right now, there has never been a faction that's just playing both sides as hard as Anaheim Electronics. The Gem was their standard build for the Earth Federation, but the Nemo was given to the rebel group, the AEUG, during the time of Zeta.
Of course they were.
Which was a much better performing mobile suit.
So, up next, guys, we have two quite big juggernauts I'm seeing here. We've got Perfect Strike Gundam and the Strike Noir. And again, you know me, I'm edgy McHedgy. The Strike Noir is taking the aesthetic. No questions asked. No. What do you prefer visually? Okay, Noah.
I agree with you full-heartedly. I just really hate the Perfect Strike, so that's why I had to put him against literally his more superior version.
he set us up, guys. He set us up for a win.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Literally, if it wasn't for the fact they enhanced the battery pack with like external batteries, and like you could very see it like at the back of the red wings, you can see like a little white protrusion. Those are extra battery packs.
Oh, I see.
They are all extra battery packs to extend the lifespan, because the way how the armor works, it's a phase shift armor. So it's an electronic armor system that will basically absorb a lot of hits, but it drains so quickly that the runtime for these two mobile suits is practically none.
See, yeah, the Noir just looks better. The Strike Gundam looks overcrowded.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's because it's using all three of its
What's the one fucking cannon just sticking out of its fucking shoulder on it?
That's its
our
buster.
Left, it's right.
That's its like Buster Blaster, which will essentially, it can destroy like a heavily fortified bunker with ease, and it's a high damaging mobile suit, like beam weapon. I can tell you this right now. He can fire it about 3 times without being connected to the fucking ship.
That's pretty cool.
But the thing that I will say that's the ultimate drawback: the pilot for the Perfect Strike is a complete novice, and he literally shot a giant gaping hole in the colony that he was sitting in space. By missing who his initial target was, and I was just like, bruh, why would you use something like that? They literally were even telling you don't fire it inside. Meanwhile, the Strike Noir Gundam, I'm gonna tell you this right now. You love the war crime, is all I'm gonna say. I kid you not. On the soul, it doesn't show it here on this image, but on the the gray part on the foot, there's like a little there would be like a little socket space there, where a machine gun has been placed. So, I kid you not, they went to a ZAF, like, basically there were people migrating to Earth, and they were basically like a little, what would you call it? Like a slum town type of thing, where it's like barely makeshift huts and everything like that.
Yeah.
They show up out the cut, and they just gun them down with just their foot.
Gundam. Sorry. That got me. But yeah, the
they just mow him down with it, and I'm just like, good lord.
It looks more capable.
Yeah, its performance is overall better.
Okay, this one's a no-brainer. You put the Destiny Gundam against the Impulse Gundam. The Destiny Gundam has wings. The Destiny Gundam wins.
The Impulse Gundam is basically the Strike Gundam, but with the fact that it's a triple combiner.
The Destiny Gundam looks like the Impulse Gundam, just in its like second form.
Nope, it's its own separate unit.
It just looks. It looks like they just attached wings to it and just made it look better.
It had the same issue of the what's it called? Of the Strike Gundam, where they basically had like separate packs for them to put on for Arsenal, and I was just sitting there like, that's great, but who's the jackass who thought, hey, you know what we need? The cockpit needs to be its own little fighter jet. The chest needs to be its own little thing, its own little fighter as well. The legs, they too need to be their own little fighter, and the backpack unit needs to be its own fighter as well. Why are we making separate parts? Well, I get in one degree it makes sense when a limb gets when a limb gets destroyed, it makes sense because you can quickly swap out the torso for like one of its spare versions of its torso. That makes sense. That's kind of practical in that sense.
How quickly are we talking here?
We're talking about like standard, like if you ever seen Power Rangers, we're talking about that level of combining. You'll literally watch him like slowly dock into it, and then suddenly it turns on and everything, and it was just like, okay.
I get you.
Meanwhile, the Destiny Gundam, all in one package, already pre-assembled when it launches. Oh yeah, that's another thing I need to tell you about the Impulse. They don't ever have it pre-assembled when they launch it for fights. They have to combine out in the open.
It's stupid. I hate it. The Destiny Gundam wins. That's what I got to say on that. The Destiny Gundam just looks superior. So that was a nice little icebreaker. I kind of like the this or that kind of aspect. So what are we doing henceforth? Are we deep diving into particular Gundam shows? What's the plan?
So next thing I'm thinking is we can probably dive into more Gundam shows that like esque style. I figure we can start with like Witch of Mercury as the next one.
Yeah.
Given it that it's more recent and more modern, and I know you don't really like the old style designs, so Universal Century, other than Unicorn, is probably gonna be the earliest I'll have you go back.
Okay.
Just so it's still aesthetically pleasing art design wise.
For now, before he hits me with I want to scrape my eyeballs out with a toothpick art designs. Yeah, I've seen a little bit of Witch of Mercury, so I'm down for that, and we'll have more Gundam headed your way, guys. This I believe we're doing this show monthly, fortnightly. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, we'll try to get late. What was it? The sparse that we'll do it is monthly, and if I'm feeling like a groove and swing of things, I might drag Mikey for more than bi-weekly maybe.
hey, he just needs to let me know. But it's been a great little segment. I very much enjoyed some of the designs. I will say some of them will. Me for the rest
actually, you know what, guys? Let us know. Anyone who's also a mecha fan of any kind, let us know. Do I G Gundam him?
That goes straight off my head, so sure.
I know. That's why it's for the audience to see. Because if we're talking about offensive, that one has a fucking list and a half. I'm actually surprised I forgot to put them in there, honestly.
Oh no. I'm concerned. But on that note, guys, we will see you all next time for our next segment of Mecha Madness. It's been fun. Don't forget to check out the website www.thelamseyshow.com, where you'll find all of our latest episodes, news, etc. And welcome aboard, Skull Era, to the
welcome aboard,
team.
Mike.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that. Ciao, guys, and take care. Peace.
Peace.